Man, I be feeling like Mr. Rogers out here. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. I know that this scenery ain't impressive to y'all, but when you done grew up in the hood your whole life, and when you done grew up, not even when you grew up and left the hood and started your life as an adult, and you ended up in worse hoods than you was as a child, and you ain't never really see too much pretty stuff. Well, you know, it's gonna be impressive to you. That's how it is for me. I took a trip to Florida one time, a couple times actually. But the first time I went to Florida, I had already been to California, but it's not like Florida. I think California got more of the weather. Florida got the weather too, but Florida is more pretty, at least to me. So it was when I was at a hotel out there, and I woke up the next morning after we got there, and I just got to looking around, and I was like, man, when you grow up in the hood and all you see when you wake up is, you know, drug dealing and crackheads, and, not to say these people is, something horrible to look at or ugly to look at. It's just there's a certain amount of depression that comes along with that. So when you wake up and you see something beautiful, you feel better. You know what I'm saying? Like you feel better. If you wake up to death and anger and poverty and frustration, that's gonna have an effect on your day, believe it or not. So that's why I like to walk through my neighborhood and just, film it as I'm walking, because to me, it's beautiful. It may not be the most beautiful place in the world, but it's beautiful compared to some of the places that I've been. But besides all that, the real reason for this video is I was looking at other videos. A lot of these other preachers, they like to film videos and they put the camera right on their face and they talk about this, the Bible, and they look professional, and their cameras are right, their lighting is right, and they set it up, perfectly. And that kind of stuff, sometimes, I see that and I'm like, man, I wish I could get mine together like that or whatever. You know what? I think I'm gonna take a turn this way because these dogs is barking loud, and I don't feel like being scared of no dog, thinking it might jump over that fence. But still beautiful. But anyway, so I was watching these preachers, right? And they was on there just like, for example, I saw one, and he was talking about some things. He was talking about another preacher. One preacher, it's crazy because it was three preachers in one video. One preacher made the video about another preacher talking about another preacher. So the one who made the video, he was talking about the preacher who was talking about the other preacher. So I know that's a lot. So apparently one preacher made a video and another preacher didn't like it. So he made a video about it and commented on it. And another preacher didn't like his comment. So he commented on the comments from the original video, if that makes sense. And I was just looking at these dudes, and the sad part about it to me was that the first preacher seemed like he was correct. The second preacher was incorrect, trying to correct him. And then the third preacher, who should have been correct because he was correcting the incorrect one, he actually did not correct him correctly. So both of them was kind of, yeah. So I was like, it made me feel kind of down, because I'm like, man, one of them had, the one who did the correcting, the first correcting, he has like 500,000 followers. And the other one who did the second correction, he has about 700,000 followers. So when you see these guys And you hear them talking to people, and they're saying things that are just incorrect with the Bible. It make you feel like, man, they teaching all these people the wrong thing. And I'm not trying to say that I'm always right, man. But it's just that there's a difference when you actually read the Bible and you know what it says compared to when you hear somebody say it doesn't say that, you know? And that's aggravating because it's like, man, y'all not really reading like y'all should, and y'all out here giving people false information. So what I think that a lot of us should do, you know, there's a verse in the Bible where it talks about Paul is teaching, and he's explaining how he noticed there's a conflict in the church, how a lot of them say they follow Peter, and then some of them say, oh, we follow Paul. And Paul is like, listen, you know, are you guys baptized with his baptism or my baptism? And the point he's trying to make to them is that y'all are baptized under the baptism of Christ, you know? So why are y'all acting like it matters if you follow me or Peter or another guy, you know? We're all working on, he says something to the effect of, you know, I may water the flower, I may do the watering, Peter may do the digging, but Christ is the one who laid the foundation. Like, you know, he says it's something like that. And I just think that that's how we all need to be. We need to stop focusing on our differences. Now, sometimes the differences are important because sometimes those differences are things that will possibly hinder us from getting to heaven or hinder us from receiving blessings. So I think that's important that we point out the things that are important and that we correct. But man, when you got people who just don't want to listen, and I've said this a million times, you just gotta let them people remain ignorant. And I just hate to see so much division in the church, man. I hate to see it because the times are drawing near. And the sad thing about it is that the fact that you got so many preachers out here right now, and they out here preaching the word, but you got people who are making decisions because of the fact that you got so many preachers. You got people that are making decisions not to follow God, and it's because of these weaker preachers out here who obviously some of them just have the gift of public speaking. They're public speakers. They're not really preachers. They're just public speakers, and they have the ability to speak very well, but they don't know the word the way they should. And it's enticing to people. They think, oh, but he speaks so well, I can follow this guy and listen to him because he speaks so well. But really, the stuff he's saying is not in accordance with the Bible. So I just want to tell y'all, warn y'all to be careful, man, about who y'all listen to, and to follow along with the Bible yourself. And this is the hard part right here. That seems to be the hard part for most people, is that you can't just agree with what somebody tells you. Like, you have to look at that Bible yourself and say, is this what it actually says? I've seen people do the strangest things, man. Like, for example, I know somebody personally, and her preacher told her, like, there's a verse in the Bible that clearly says, if you eat certain meat, well, I mean, it says that if people try to tell you not to eat certain meat or certain foods, and people try to tell you that you're not allowed to get married, that's the doctrine of a devil. And I've heard Well, she told me that, her preacher told her that's not true. I mean, even though that's what the word says. It says it clearly. And I'm like, all you have to do is just read it. Like, just look at it and see what it says. I'm like, don't listen to me. Don't listen to your preacher. Just look at it. Just look at it and you tell me what you think it means. Because some things in the Bible are so clear. But then you have some people who, because they speak so well or because you've been following them for so long, they'll tell you something means something totally different. And it's sad to see it go down that way, because it seems like a lot of us just aren't able to interpret for ourselves. Even though no interpretation is needed most of the time, a lot of the times I say, it's just sad that we can't do it on our own. We have to go by whatever somebody else tells us. So I'll just say, man, again, whoever listens to this message, I believe that God got you listening for a reason. Please read for yourself and look at that thing, and then you look at it and you tell me, or not tell me, but you tell yourself, when you hear a preacher say something and you look at that word, does it feel right? Does it sit right in your spirit? Does it feel like, yeah, I feel like that's what that means? Or does it feel like, you have got to, Jesus described us as sheep. And he used the perfect example when he calls us sheep, because people just follow. People just follow, man. And I hate to see people just follow. This big old dog is not on a leash. Well, that concludes my video today, y'all. I'm gonna say love y'all. Be blessed. Be watchful. Still a beautiful neighborhood, but god dog, why these people can't put their animals on leashes? Love y'all. Be blessed. Be watchful. That brother huge. Just look at the size of this dude. Look at this. Look at that. Man, what is that? A pit bull? Oh my gosh.